choice. I doubt it if they have any choice, you know. Everybody, at least in my age, they remember King Faisal, what happened to him in 1974, you know. And all these queens or, you know, princes, or they know their future if they say something, you know.
I would like to frame the question in a way that has been bugging me for the past few days since his trip had all these announcements and gifts. So basically, during this gift, he announced that he will help the Syrians, but at the same time, the killing and the atrocities in Gaza continue, and he got plenty of money to take back home. So are we supposed to be happy or sad or another feeling? I don't know. I'm a Syrian. I'm happy that there will be improvement in the economy in Syria, but at the same time, I see continuation of the atrocities in the Gulf, in Gaza.
Actually, they increased.
So how do I process these mixed feelings? That's my question.
I think it's related, Syria and Gaza. It's very related, I think.
How are they related, but at the same time, one is getting so much better and one is getting worse and worse?
I think they are making the life in Gaza very bad to let the people be ready to move out. This is what I think. And if they want to improve Syria with condition bringing these people to Syria, you know, let us see what will happen.
Yeah, we can always wait and see what happens. I'm trying to see if we are supposed to process those mixed feelings in a smart way or intelligent way, or just basically be observers. Maybe we are just observers, but you know, we're responsible for our how we feel.
Aren't we responsible for our feeling?
I think we should be like we should steer our feelings because we are powerless. At least we should manage our feelings. Like consider feel the pain of others. But I'm having this difficulty feeling the pain at the same time celebrating in the same, and it's coming from the same person. That's what bothers me.
Okay, Dr. Suhail with us. I think he heard us. Salam alaikum, Dr. Suhail.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
This is the subject for today, talking about Trump visit to the Middle East. They want elaboration, you know.
And also, I would like to add, Salam alaikum, Sheikh. I would like to add really what the brother FS, I'm not sure who he is, he's Syrian, I'm Algerian, is really dealing with the mixed feelings of feeling happy for the Syrians and what's happening to Gaza at the same time. So those are kind of mixed feelings that I personally I'm feeling, just like brother FS is.
Firas,
حياك الله فراس. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. طيب بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. And first of all, just by asking these questions and wondering, we should feel bad about ourselves because it's our matters and our destiny. And as Brother Firas said, we are observers. We just analyze, try to understand what is being planned or what is even being executed already. So it's not even things that are being planned. There are things that they went into execution and we are trying to understand them. And they're happening in our territory and they are determining our future and our destiny. That's a very, it's a situation that we should not be happy with. Because we should have our destiny in our hands. That should be our goal, and not wait for solution from outside or not wonder what's going on or where things are going. We should be the ones who shape events and determine this. They call self-determination. There is no point in having independence without self-determination. Self-determination means you have your destiny in your hands. So that's the general frame. First of all, I mean, it won't hurt to be happy with something and sad with other thing at the same time. I mean, it's not very. There is no contradiction. I mean, just have to be careful, because the happiness for Syria has to be gauged, because we have this tendency to go out of control every time we achieve anything. We think that's it, we are already there. The regime falls, we think we're already there. The sanctions lifted, we think we're already there. That has to stop. And we have really to be more reasonable about when we celebrate, and we have the right to celebrate and to be happy. But we always have to remember that the Syrian people did not revolt and pay all this price to have the sanctions lifted, or to have their whatever, all these, or to have their president received by Trump. That's not the goal. These are not the goals. And while they are happening, and you take them, but you put them behind and then focus on your goals. Why did you revolt? Why did you pay this heavy price? You're having a heavy price to have a country that is where you are true citizen, where there is true justice, true transparency, equal opportunity, true sovereignty. None of this is happening. And we are not even heading there. Actually, we're heading almost probably either we're in the same place or in the same direction as we were before. So people have to be always, I use that example. It's a bad example, but unfortunately it keeps happening. That when students or workers, they go on strike because they have some demands, and then the government comes and takes some of their people, either dismiss them from school or from work, or jail them. So the demand becomes just bring back our colleagues. And when they release their colleagues or bring them back to school, they finish the strike and they go back to school or back to work, forgetting about why did you go on strike to begin with. That was not your goal. That was something that happens in the way. So that should be in our mind, that these are not our goals. These are some small achievements in the way. We get them. They make big difference for the people over there, of course, more than the people abroad. But and also even this lifting the sanctions, it's not, they put already some strings on it. They're gonna be reviewing it I don't know how, every period of time. They're gonna be doing it gradually. We don't know what's the price, because nothing is given for free. But they don't announce the price. So we became so desperate to the point that any thing that we got, we don't even ask for what price was paid for it. We just celebrate what we got. So for the Palestinian, it's, again, and it's not Palestine, even Libya. Nobody knows where things are going. These are plans that were already made. These are deals that were already made, and they are being implemented. And the people, poor people, are wondering what's going on, where things are heading, who's doing what, etc. And all goes back to that idea that as long you are not independent, as long your matters are decided outside, nothing is going to change, because those countries, even those who say that they are your brothers and your neighbors, they are not charitable organization. They're pursuing their own interest, which most of the time they are not the same as your own interest. But for, I mean, I was not surprised. I mean, that nothing happened for Gaza. Gaza, more than likely, there are a lot of rumors circulating there that there are some plans of deporting a large number of Palestinians either to Syria, which the current regime is ready for anything, is signing on blank check for anything, for normal tatbiya, they're fine, for Israel to keep whatever she got from the south, they're fine. And more than likely, they're gonna accept. That's probably part of the deal that we don't know. And there are rumors that they're gonna ship some to Libya, which also I won't be surprised, because all those regimes, they have something in common. One thing, keep me in power, and I sign on anything. Don't assassinate me, because they know they can be assassinated. Most of Arab leaders, they know that if a decision is taken to assassinate them, it will not take an hour or a couple hours. It can be done on the same day, because they have some spies implanted in the governing whatever Qasr or wherever they are residing, and and after the assassination of Nasrallah, I think the people are becoming much more. They're taking this much more seriously. That if you want to avoid that, if you want to avoid assassination, poisoning, whatever, any form of assassination, if you want to avoid any coup d'etat, if you want to avoid even by people who are very close to you, if you want to avoid that we can instigate trouble in the country, overnight you will find people demonstrating in the street, some of them out of good intention, but some of them are paid to do that. If you want to avoid all of that, then listen, just do what we tell you to do. And that's the case for all, with no exceptions, all Arab leaders. They are not getting their legitimacy from elections or from achievements for the people or from the people's satisfaction. They know at the end of the day, even if they are popular, they know that's temporary. That's going to disappear. What will remain is the foreign protection. It's the intelligence, it's the CIA, it's the Mossad, it's whatever. These are the ones who are securing your life and securing your regime. And therefore, you can fool your people for some time. They can be happy with you. You can be popular, but you know that this is going to disappear, because you're not going to be able to deliver much. And at the end of the day, you're going to rely almost exclusively on the foreign protection. That's a cycle that we have seen time and again, and it's going to continue to happen. So Palestine, you can see Gaza, the plan was to make it non-livable, if you will, that you cannot live in Gaza. That plan is ongoing. Actually, the Israelis are escalating these days, and pushing them to Egypt, pushing them shipping to Syria, to Libya, to Somalia, bringing ships, and then offer them to migrate to Europe after their life become unbearable, which already became unbearable. You can't imagine people who have been moving from one place to another, and then bombarded, and in the tents, and then tents are drowning in floods, and it's miserable life beyond imagination. People are dying out of hunger. People are dying out of hunger to that extent in 2025. And the Arab world is watching and pouring billions and hundreds of billions of dollars in deals. They could not even use them as leverage to say, just put some pressure on, let's finish this massacre in Gaza, or this bloodbath. And if Arabs and Muslims are going to continue relying on their leaders who are appointing to do a different job, not your goals, who are appointed in the same way like the one who was governor under the direct occupation. If you read history, you will find that in every country, when the French or the British occupation was there, the army was there was a local leader who was puppet, basically. Doesn't do anything because there is the المندوب السامي or المقيم العام. If the French, they call the مقيم العام. British, they call the mandub. That's the one who run the country. But there is a local face. There is a local facade. It's exactly the same system, except that mandub sami or that foreign governor, actual governor, nowadays resides in the embassy or resides outside. Is not visible as it used to be. But anybody who doesn't see who still see big difference between before independence and after independence, all their analysis and conclusions are going to be wrong. Because there was no independence. It was a big lie.
Dr. Sohail, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You know, all the Arab countries the same.
Yeah.
And independent, all of them. I will compare between Syria and Saudi Arabia. Syria rich like Saudi Arabia, if not more. People will be surprised. We are not talking just oil. We have agriculture, we have industries, we have everything. Syria made car in 1980. We made first Syrian car. And Hafiz Assad, he destroyed Syria. Compare Damascus in 1970 and Riyadh in 1970, and compare right now Damascus and Riyadh. See the difference. I don't like MBS or MBZ, but see what they are doing for their country and see what he did for our country. This is the point right now, I think. See Libya, what happened to Libya, and compare it with Emirates. Same resources. Both countries, they live under the oil. Look at Tripoli and look at Abu Dhabi or Dubai.
It's very unfortunate. Yeah. It's very unfortunate that most Arab people are cursing all the time the Gulf leaders. But if you think about it, Gulf leaders may not be good with you, but they are good to their people.
Good for their people. Good for their countries. They are doing their countries.
Of course, there is a corruption. Of course, situation of Saudi people can be better than this. Of course, the royal family is taking a lot of money everywhere. But at the end of the day, even in terms of percentage, how they did, what they did to their people, compared to the wealth of the country, if you compare it to Libya or Algeria, same. If you compare it to Libya and Algeria, the situation in Libya and Algeria is miserable compared to the Gulf populations, even though in terms of resources, there isn't big difference. That tells you also that among all those regimes, the military one is the worst. So, I mean, they're all bad, but among them, the countries that were led by military people, they did even more poorly than others.
Assalamu alaikum. You know, I was an expat in Saudi. I met an American who worked both in Iraq and in Saudi and Algeria, you know, like in the oil field. So the way he put it is this way. He said you have one king and the people are his subjects. He wants to keep his subjects happy, so they'll keep him in power. You know what I'm saying? While when you have military regimes, it's a coup after a coup. You don't know who really runs the country, and it keeps getting worse. Canada it was said but true. That was his logic, which made sense.
Yeah. And I mentioned one time, I said, if you want to see the situation of at least every Arab country and most Muslim countries, there are 3 examples that tells you they're concentrated example, concentrated or focused, because the other ones are disguised. They are not so obvious. In terms of dependence, look at the Palestinian Authority. Very dependent, to the point that the president cannot move except with the Israeli permission. Most of those leaders, they are in the same situation, but except the kharaj or the production or the packaging and the marketing is much better, because that's very obvious. But in terms of dependence, if you want to see how dependent any of your countries is, look at the Palestinian Authority. It is exactly the same. Another example is Lebanon. If you want to see how dependent your country, the politics in your country to outside, look at Lebanon. Lebanon, things will be paralyzed for so long. The moment there is a deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia, everything is resolved on the same day, which means that all your matters are decided outside, not inside. I mean, read about how this new prime minister was appointed and the new president was appointed from outside. So Lebanon and the Palestinian Authority tells you that politics in your country, they are run exactly the same way. Decisions are made outside, and your country, your government is a government who is just managing the affairs. Tasrif a'mal. Managing, meaning picking the trash, paying salaries, etc. But no sovereign decision. Qarar siyadi, no strategic decisions. You're just managing the status quo. When it comes to the corruption, look at Iraq. Iraq is really flagrant example of corruption. Country that is very rich, one of the top oil producer in the world. Its population is suffering in terms of energy, fuel, and poverty. So if we were talking about Libya and Algeria, that they did not take advantage of their natural resources, Iraq is even worse. Iraq is a rich country whose population is very poor. That's how corrupt. Why? If you dig down, you find that there are people like Maliki and others. They took billions of dollars, not even millions. Billions of dollars were taken away from that country. So corruption is exactly the same way everywhere, but that's a very concentrated version. Yours is more dilute. It's not as bad, it's not as concentrated, but it is exactly the same corruption. So most of Arab countries, not most, all, and some Muslim countries, they are run by the same same system. It is the triangle that I keep mentioning all the time. It is foreign powers, that's where decisions are made, local lobby, financial cartel, the few families and individuals who control the economy and who have monopoly over it. 2 and 3 is the armed forces, whose job is to support whoever is in power. The 4th element has no power. Now we have seen Ben Ali 23 years. He's so feared, very powerful, ruthless, whatever. He's gone in a couple weeks. Why? Because they pulled the plug. The moment the plug was pulled, it just fell. That armed forces is supporting whoever is in there, whoever is in Qasr Jamhuri. Someone goes, somebody else comes, they support him. But they were told, from here, they were told to pull the plug, and he fell. Assad, I don't know, 50 years or whatever. And then there's, since 2011, the people of Syria are trying and did everything and paid heavy price to get rid of him. He didn't, wasn't. Why? Wasn't because he was supported. So why he fell in 11 days? Because the plug was pulled. Has to go. So that triangle unfortunately, that triangle is unseen. What we see the political facade, and we are busy with it, even though it means nothing. There is somebody who is manipulating that facade that we don't see. It's like now our situation. It's like a kid who's running after a car or a toy, and someone has the remote control moving that car, and the poor kid does not know that. He thinks that the car is moving by itself, so it's chasing the car left and right, but someone is taking that remote control, push the car forward, backward, turn, etc. It's a very, very embarrassing situation. I mean, I don't know what if I see anybody praising their government in any Arab countries, I feel very bad. Praising for what? Yani? Praising for bringing you to this point. Yani? We are in a situation that we should be ashamed of ourselves, embarrassed in terms of our contribution in the world, zero. We're contributing nothing to humanity. Embarrassed because our destiny is not in our hands. Embarrassed because things are happening in our own countries and we are wondering what's going on, who's doing what, where things are going. The stakeholders are observing and trying to understand what's going on.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wallahi, some Arab leaders, they are getting praise from people that Western leaders who achieved miracles for their people did not get. Now, we never heard the British people making songs about Churchill, even though he achieved something miraculous by defeating the Nazis. That's it. I mean, you are there, you are in charge, doing your job. Thank you. Good. And then the next election after the war, they elected somebody else. That's how people are free minds. They don't have this idea of Sheikh al-Qabila or our master, we are our job just to see what he's going to do to us and what he's going to give us, and praising everything he does. That mentality is now nowhere in the world except in the Arab region. Has disappeared. Even from most Africa is disappearing, and people are adopting the citizenship mindset. That at the end of the day, this is a public servant who's doing his job.
Assalamu alaikum. I thought there is a brother who's going to say something. I don't want to interrupt anybody. Brother, do you want to say something or?
Yeah, I was just going to build up on what the Sheikh said.
Go ahead.
So basically, the Sheikh ended up saying it really goes down to the Arab mindset. Basically, I think he mentioned we are stakeholders. Well, some Muslim countries are doing better than us, at least.
No. But this mindset its roots is in Islamic fiqh.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to. Is it? Yeah. So so it's basically from Muslim or Muslims being colonized. After so long, then they kind of, like the neo-colonial or the after-colonial kind of brought that mentality to the people. Because people that fought the colonial powers and got rid of them. I mean, I've seen it when I was young. They thought differently. I remember in Algeria in 1962, people got up in arms, and in 1967, people got up in arms against their own government for certain decisions. But with time, that disappeared. People are just happy with the toys they are given. They get busy with each other, and they fall into this trap that, well, if this guy goes, the next one will be worse. And then, you see what I'm saying?
And the roots of this came from that transition after Khulafa al-Rashidin into the Hukm Salatin, the dynasty rule. The roots of it came there. People, when they saw those bloody civil war, and you cannot blame them, they started to long for stability at any price. So yeah, when stability happened at the hand of Sultan, they accepted it. And up to this point, there is no problem. That's very normal. When you go through very bloody civil war and you see his companions fighting each other and killing each other, you will be shocked to the point that anybody who bring law and order is legitimate. The problem is when they start ta'sil, legitimizing it from fiqh or building a fiqh that will say that's okay. That's no more. You don't choose your leader anymore. Whoever comes to power, establish stability and law and order, they are legitimate. Whether they inherited from their father, whether they took it by force, whether they are corrupt, whether they are ruthless, whether, doesn't matter. That's the deviation started there. And then we had this partnership between the rulers and ulama sultan and scholars. That's where if you want to put your fingers on the root cause of the problem, that's where it is. So ulama sultan, the scholars of the ruler, they basically start issuing fatwa that will reinforce that mindset. The mindset of ra'iyya, subject, not citizen. You no longer have the right to hold your leader accountable or to choose them or to ask them even. Why? Because they are sama'u ta'a, amir, whatever. So we have a body of fiqh and questionable hadith and questionable interpretation of verses, etc. A whole body that made that acceptable and passed on from one generation to another. Majority of Muslims nowadays, they are under that mindset. And by the way, unfortunately, the Arab Spring reinforced that inadvertently. It's not, Arab Spring was a great thing to happen. But now in the minds of many people, they're saying, you know what, give me stability, and with dictatorship, that's fine. I mean, if you ask a Libyan or you ask Iraqi or you ask whatever, you said, we were in much better shape before. At the end of the day, there was some aman and security and stability, etc. So unfortunately, the people revolted for a better situation, but because agendas pushed countries into chaos, so that people will be longing to dictatorship or to stability even under a dictatorship. And believe it or not, majority of countries nowadays, those who have seen the Arab Spring and those who didn't, they will say, give me stability and I don't care about freedom or democracy or dignity or anything or equality or. So we have a mindset that was reinforced over century, which is the subject mindset, that you don't have natural rights. What the government gives you, these are favors. Barakallahu fihum, jazakumullahu khairan. Whatever they give you, as if they're giving you from their pockets. So that mindset was reinforced over century, was rooted in Islam, unfortunately, in the wrong way. So there is a whole body of fiqh that and questionable hadith, ati al-amir, whatever he does, whatever they do, no matter how, in which way they come to power, etc. And we have cases. I mean, the Dawla al-Abbasiyya, when it started, this Safah, I mean, he was not called Safah by coincidence, by the way. Safah because he was Safah. Yeah. He murdered thousands of people from the first days and still was accepted as a legitimate leader because he's a mutaghallib. He's the one who took over, so he's legitimate. That's what the fiqh says. I mean, just read what they did for the Umayyin, the first years of Abbasi rule. They went even to the graves. They pulled the graves, the remnant of the Umayyin, and burned them. They did things beyond imagination. Mass killing. Why? I mean, and still, nowadays in fiqh, he was Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was Khalifa, and he was legitimate, and his power passed on to his son, etc. So that mindset, there are two things that now we're focusing on. The mindset of subject together with the fact that the country is not dependent, is not independent. Just put that mix together. Country is not independent, decision is made outside, and the people are accepting whoever is in charge, regardless. Traitor was appointed from outside, it doesn't matter. Dictator doesn't matter. Corrupt doesn't matter. There is always his tribe. It starts with his tribe. His tribe would be praising him and justifying everything for him. And then you have the rest of the people, the poor people, either they will follow or they become indifferent, which is now the phenomena that is so prevalent in the Muslim world, is that people don't care anymore. People don't care about religion. People don't care about politics, especially these young generation. They don't care about anything. Why? Because they have seen that nothing is happening, nothing is changing. It's the same cycle, it's the same game. Everybody comes and promises them and looks nice and honest in the beginning, and then they discover the reality. And then so disappointment after disappointment, people reach the point where they don't care anymore. All this discussion that you see on the social media has almost no presence in the street. People don't care at all. They're just working to fulfill their needs and pay the bills. And for them, they gave up hope on any change that is going to happen. They tried, election didn't work. They tried, revolution didn't work. They coup d'etat didn't work. None of this changed their situation.
Assalamu alaikum. Can I ask a question regarding? I don't know much about Syria. I have a very close friend. She was very concerned and she was not celebrating when this happened. She said Israel has taken quite a amount of land, so that is not good. I don't know what's going to happen. The other thing I wanted to ask is about the fiqh of the leadership. I'm sure there must be very specific rules in the fiqh of. It is a lack of leadership. I think people are in general good, and all they need is a good leader who knows about Islam as well as politics. That we don't have, and I don't know what the fiqh of leadership imam. For imam we have, but for Amir, very few people know. They just get elected, like you said. They are replaced by just randomly by different external forces. So we have, I guess we need to regulate that, the leadership.
Leadership, and we, after all these attempts, this idea of somebody is coming from above, and I personally gave up on that. I mean, and I don't believe anything is going to happen except through grassroots work, because those leaders of political parties, they get recruited or indoctrinated in their way. So, and unfortunately, almost all of them, they accept that deal. We'll bring you to power, but you have to do the same job like the previous one. Do it your way, don't do it the same way, but you know the deal. It's a job that your predecessor has done for a while, and then he failed to do it, and he became a big liability. So we're getting rid of him, but you're coming to do the same job. It's a recruitment process. The job description is the same. Now everybody does it their own way. Everybody has their own way to speak, their own way to do. Some of them are maybe leftist, some of them are Islamists, some of them they pray, some they don't. Some that doesn't matter. These are minor things. These are big in our in the minds of our people. But in politics, they have no weight. So there is a job description. As long we are not independent, people who are brought to power is to do exactly the same job. This job is so simple. We have seen it in front of our eyes. Keep your people under control, keep things running, and suppress any true momentum toward real liberation or toward renaissance or toward democracy, etc. No, that's your job. Now, the way, how you do it, the practicalities, that's everybody is different. But we have seen exactly the same thing happening. So waiting for a leader or a political party to lead this change, and I personally don't expect that to happen. Unless there is something that starts local, and then there's something that starts grassroots and builds momentum that is hard to stop and hard to derail and hard to bribe. Why the Arab Spring people couldn't do much about it? Because there was no particular leader that you can blackmail or you can bribe. It was a grassroots movement. There was no particular head that you can arrest or you can bribe or you can strike a deal with. It's something that popped up everywhere at the same time, different segment of society, different regions. So it was not stoppable. Unfortunately, it didn't have a vision. It didn't have project beyond toppling the regime. So that became the ultimate goal. But the way it was done, that's the right way. There is no, that's the only way that if it was led by a political party or a political leader, believe me, they could easily blackmail or bribe or strike a deal with. So you're right. It's the idea of, I mean, for Syria, it's nobody should even have this slight doubt or slight hesitation to be happy that the Assad regime is out, and it's a page that is turned in history. So this is something that should not be mixed with anything else. This is something that people should be happy about, celebrate, that this ruthless, bloody, sectarian, corrupt, you name it, regime is gone. It doesn't matter, gone by earthquake, gone by external forces, gone, just gone. So that's what I believe the mistake is, first of all, over celebration, as if that's the ultimate goal. That's common. That was made by all the Arab Spring countries. All the people made the same mistake. When the regime is gone, they thought they're already there, so they were swamped in celebration. That's one. Second is the framing. Unfortunately, some people they don't know, but some people are fooling themselves. Some people they're fooling themselves, accepting this version that this was really spontaneous and natural, and this Hayat Tahrir al-Sham defeated the regime and defeated the Russian and defeated the Iranian, and because Allah was with them, and this is miracle. This is nonsense. This is ridiculous. This is a regional, international agenda was going in one direction. Assad was cooperating. He was asked to do certain things. He hesitated at the end. Things were changed toward getting rid of him because he was not ready or was not serious about achieving the goal. The goal and the Iranian presence in Syria cut the line between Iran and Lebanon. He did some, but he was trying to play on. So decision was to get rid of him. Who's ready now? Who can take over these guys? They can, especially that more and more information is saying that these people, they were working with different intelligence long time ago, with the Turkish, with the American, etc. So they are not. So if people celebrate, but understand exactly what happened and condemn the fact that the Israeli took advantage of that. That's a complex stand, but it is possible. That's the natural stand, the logic stand.
Right.
But to say, I'm going to go only one way, I don't care about this version, I don't like it, so I like the other version about why Assad was toppled, and I don't care about the Israeli. No, that's too much. That's extreme. So what I believe is the principled position, celebrate as a step in the way, not as the ultimate goal. Understand that these people were brought to power. It's not you brought them to power. No, it was not your decision. Nobody waited for your decision. These people were brought to power to do the same job as Assad was doing before. Gradually, like other Arab Spring countries. Understand that condemn and oppose whatever the Israelis have done, taking advantage of that. But to say, I am with the regime regardless, even if they sell half the country, they are good because they are our brothers, and they are, or because they are Sunni, or because they are good Muslim, or because they have a beard, or because they are praying. That's where things become ridiculous.
Yeah, the thing is, I got confused. I didn't know much about Syrian geopolitics. One group of my Syrian friends was celebrating. The other got mad at me. Ki, why are you celebrating? Because part of the Syria has already been taken, and it's not a good idea. So I got totally confused.
No, you can do both. You can do both. I mean,
hopefully best, yeah. Okay. The other question I have, I think maybe for next time, which was, I was very concerned. I heard a video, YouTube, which may be wrong, and I hope it is wrong, that this head of the state of Saudi Arabia, what is his name, Salman bin, he is trying to get rid of mountain Ohad, and he's expanding, and of all the places he chose just Ohad to get rid of Ohad, and doing some kind of a project over there. I don't know if it's true. That's extremely bad news, for all of us.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about it. We'll try to find out.
So these head of the states, I don't know what they are doing. None of them, except for a few Muslim countries.
They are running their farms. It's Mazra. So they don't have any hesitation to do whatever they want, because people are accepting it. And this idea of they are running their own properties, because they look at the people as the subjects. These people, they are not the ones who chose the leader, as Mohammed bin Salman or others. But they are not, they are subjects, ra'iyah. And unfortunately, people are accepting it. Nothing is happening in any country except except as a result of people accepting it. If people reject something, it does not happen. إرادة الشعوب من إرادة الله. When the Tunisian poet will say, إذا الشعب يوما أراد الحياة فلا بد أن يستجيب القدر, he means that the will of the people is unstoppable, because it is from the will of Allah. So things are happening because people are accepting it.
I mean, that is, we have to believe in Qadar, but basically, everybody's, I think, is scared. Even the head of the state and people from, everybody's scared of saying the truth. Amar bil Maruf and Anil Munkar is all gone, and they're scared of their, their own position, that they might be replaced. And I mean, nobody's accountable for anything. So I think everybody's scared. Even these days, within a family, the parents cannot say anything to the kids. They are scared of, so I don't know what we're going to do about it.
Yeah. Again, the damage that happened is big. It happened over the centuries. It touched the personality. It touched the mindset. It touched the deen itself. That's why, and I'm not fooling myself, that things can change before people change. Things are not going to change if people are thinking the same way, if people are still subscribing to the same version of Islam, if people are behaving the same way, the conditions are going to be the same. Anybody who's fooling himself, saying, no, situation can change, even though we're still the same people, we'll still embrace the same version of Islam, which is totally mutilated and messed up. And we are still thinking the same way, which was totally messed up, our way of thinking and mindset, and behaving the same way. And look, go talk to anybody who visited any Muslim country recently. They will tell you about the social diseases, the lying and the cheating, and the level of corruption and the level of... and still, we're hoping that with all of that, everything is the same, but situation will change. I mean, Einstein was asked one time, say, is there anything in this world that you did not understand? He said, there is only one thing that somebody keep doing the same thing and expect different results? That's something that I don't understand.
Sheikh, just subhanallah, what you just said brought me to this ayah, لا يغير الله ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. The natural way I read it is people will not change the situation of people till they change themselves. They bring change. But then maybe this is part of changing the fiqh over time. It really doesn't mean that. I heard that. It means the opposite, that people are doing well and their problems come because you understand, it's almost like a punishment from Allah.
Yeah, there is that understanding, but I believe the first understanding
is the one. Yeah. So can you kind of speak more about it? Maybe the next time in this verse, or I don't know, because time is running out.
It's a very simple. I mean, we'll talk about next time, but it's very simple. If you look at the early days of Islam, the change that happened started in the individuals themselves. Any companion before and after Islam was a different person. There was something that has changed completely. There was somebody who was living a purposeless life. And then suddenly they start having a mission, and they have a goal, and they have a dream. They want to see justice prevailing on earth. They want to do everything they can so that they can meet Allah while He's pleased with them. That's what changed first. I mean, I always recommend read the stories of the companions before and after Islam. That's the change that is missing nowadays. We don't see that happening. And I said that I believe that this level of change that is needed in our people, mindset, personality, etc., can happen through only two conditions. If you don't see them, don't fool yourself to expect any change. If you don't see new version, fresh understanding of Islam, that is a mission-driven, that is emphasize maqasid and mobilizes people and unify them, and not sectarian, makes you a brother of somebody, of your fellow citizen, even if they're not practicing Muslim, even if they're not Muslim at all. Islam unifies people for those goals.
We're doing good.
And unless you see a national vision or dream, inspiring vision that will mobilize people, unless you see these two conditions in a society or in a country, don't expect any significant change.
Also, Dr. Ghannouchi, next time, can you please talk about this verse, which is Zahar al-Fasad fil barri wal bahri bima kasabat aydin nas. So this, I mean, we are living in these times for sure.
Yeah, inshallah.
Inshallah, but I might not be able to attend. My brother is coming next weekend, but I hope somebody will pass on the tape.
Inshallah.
The video.
Jazakallah. See you next Sunday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
assalam wa rahmatullah.